Hey Savant Squad, what is happening? Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at The Savant Life and also search for my page on Facebook and give it a big old thumbs up. Hey guys, welcome back to The Savant Life, and on this episode we are going to be doing a ride-in review of the Honda CBR 250, but I don't want you guys to be confused. It's not the 2018 version, the new version that Honda just launched. I mean, I don't know if you would really call it new, considering that they just added a couple of fancy stickers for the most part, but that bike is really not available for test ride in so many showrooms in Bangalore, so I will eventually get there. I'll get my hands on it and I'll get an exclusive ride-in review out for you guys very soon. But for the meantime, I thought it would not be a bad idea to dig out from the archives a review I'd made last year but never really published of the Honda CBR 250. And considering there are not too many upgrades really, this review video should suffice for now. And in this one, I really break down all of the details and the nuances of the bike, and I also talk about Honda's strategy and why they possibly don't launch bikes like the Honda CBR 250 RR in the Indian markets and why they give it such a second-hand treatment. So all of that and a whole lot more is coming right up, so go ahead and enjoy this one. I'll see you soon.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of The Savant Life, and today we are going to be taking the Honda CBR 250R out for a spin. I've tried to make this happen for quite some time, and finally the stars have aligned. As you can see, what I have over here is a 2012 version of the CBR 250R in black and grey. Now, this is one of the first colors that came out with. The other option, of course, was the red and the grey. And I really think that the all black or the all red version looks incredible, but this one is pretty damn sweet as well. If you really look around, this is the one with the ABS option, so you have the Nissan brake calipers over there, and it's overall a pretty sweet looking bike. Even in 2017, considering that it is a little dated in the Indian market, it still more than holds up its end of the bargain. So with that being said, let's get on to the CBR 250 and see what the bike has to offer. It has a decent grunt, doesn't it? Alright, here goes nothing. I like it already. I like it a lot. Ooh. Oh, it just has so much of power. This is beautiful. I'm actually going to go till the end of this road, take a U, and I'll have this open road to myself, and hopefully I can get to push it a little bit. I love how refined this Honda engine is. I've always heard about the CBR 250 being a really refined bike. Now, I've ridden the KTM RC390 as well, and believe me, that's a rambunctious bike, but this one has a different kind of a feel to it. It seems way better engineered than the RC390. The RC390 just seems like a wild brute that you can push around and have a lot of fun with, whereas this is a bike that you can really get to respect. Now, actually, I had tried to get my hands on the CBR 250 much before as well, but things just did not work out. I even went to the extent of booking a CBR on one of those premium bike renting websites, and they stood me up a second time in a row. Talk about bad customer service. But anyways, we shall not get into that. Finally, I used my own connections and got it from a friend of a friend, so here we are. And I really like what I see of the bike so far, and I can totally understand why this bike is so highly regarded in the Indian market, even though Honda has not really done itself too many favors by not giving it enough attention in the last 5 or 6 years that this bike has been around. There's another one. See, that's the same bike as this one, except all Honda did was just give it a couple of stickering updates. And you know, that's a topic that we shall get into a little later on in the video. Oh, I like the fact that it has power on tap, but it's this very refined kind of power. And it just might be something that is the case with this particular bike, but I think the gear shifting and the placement of it especially is a little off, but my friend who loaned me this bike actually told me that, so I'm guessing that this is just something that is very unique to this particular bike and not the Honda CBR 250 in general. Having ridden the RC390, I can tell you the difference between the two bikes. The riding posture on this is slightly more comfortable than the RC390, even though it's not as different as I was expecting it to be. From what other people had said, I thought this would have a more upright position, but that's not really the case. It is definitely a little different from the RC390, but not by all that much as far as posture is concerned. But the power that the bike has is quite impressive for a 250cc engine, and it is rather refined. But then, hey, that's what Honda bikes are known for. So this one that I'm riding is a 2012 version which comes with ABS, so it is the top line model, and I have to say it is a little on the heavier side. I think the non-ABS version, there's another CBR, so I think the non-ABS version is roughly about 160 kgs, whereas this one is much heavier than that. He told me that it's 190. I'm not completely sure about that. That seems a little excessive, but it is definitely heavy, and you can feel it when you're riding the bike. As far as Honda is concerned and their positioning in the Indian market, they seem to have found this very clear sweet spot. Whoops, there's a hump. So they seem to have found this very clear sweet spot. Oh, a Daytona. Today seems to be a busy day. So as far as Honda is concerned and their positioning in the market, they seem to have found this very clear sweet spot for themselves, and that is the mass commuter market in India. And they have the Honda Activa, which sells like hotcakes and brings in the money for them. So they haven't really put in all of that time and effort into really bringing in their best bikes into the Indian market. But having said that, I know a lot of people feel that Honda have taken the market for granted and they haven't really done much with the upgrades of this bike. But I have to say it's not completely their fault either. So in India we have this slightly weird mentality wherein we link the price of a bike to its displacement. So we think if a bike has to be priced at around 4 lakhs, it better be a 500cc or a 600cc bike, and we won't pay that kind of a price for a 250cc bike for that matter. And the Yamaha R3 is a perfect example of that. When it's a great bike, but how many of those do you really see on the roads? Because people are not willing to pay that kind of a price for a bike which is roughly about 300cc. And Honda has gotten a lot of flack for not getting in the CBR 250 RR into the Indian market. And I'm telling you, from sources that I can't name, they do have plans of bringing that bike in very soon. And if they do, I'd really love to see how many people actually put their money where their mouth is and go out there and actually buy that bike, because I really can't see that bike being a runaway success, especially when it's priced at around 3.5 to 4 lakhs. Having said that, if we're being completely honest, that bike deserves that kind of a price. However, we in India really won't go out there and buy that bike, so I think we should really stop placing all of the blame on the bike manufacturers, because let's face it, they're not here to support a particular kind of biking lifestyle. They're here to do business and make profits, and if the market does not really support that vision, they simply won't bring in those kind of products. And if they do over and over again and it doesn't really work out for them, they will learn their lesson and not repeat their mistakes, because ultimately executives who run these companies need to show profits, or else they're shown the door. Alright, but enough about that. Let's talk about this bike in particular. So the CBR 250R was launched in India way back in 2012, and this model essentially was debuted as a concept way back in 2008 or 2009 at Intermot, and it is heavily inspired by the VFR 1200R. And it is a very comfortable machine. It's a very reliable machine. It's got that Honda refinement for sure, I can tell you. And this particular bike that I'm riding is about 5 years old, but it definitely does not feel that way, which is a testament to the refinement of Honda and their machines. It does have power. When the road opens up and you want to let it rip, you definitely can have some fun on this. So just to give you some quick specs, the Honda CBR 250 comes with a single-cylinder 249cc engine that can make 26 bhp of power at 22 newton meters of torque. The seat height is a rather low 790 millimeters, which is definitely very comfortable, especially if you're on the shorter side. Anywhere between 5'7" to 5'8", you will not find that to be a challenge with this bike. But for taller riders, I think it might be a little bit of a concern, because I'm about 5'11", and I find that the rear foot pegs are a little further back than I would like them to be, and I have to struggle a little bit when it comes to shifting the gears. And like I said, that might just be something to do with this particular bike, but the more I ride it, the more I'm thinking it's not. Now, just to compare the power a little bit, the CBR 250 produces 26 bhp, like I mentioned, whereas let's say the recently launched Duke 250 is capable of producing 30 bhp, and I think it's a slightly more powerful bike, and it's definitely also on the lighter side. But again, it's not a fared bike. What is happening over here? But it's not a fared bike, and it's a naked street fighter, so I think on city traffic it is definitely a much more nimble and agile bike compared to this one, whereas on the highway I would probably put my money on the CBR 250. Also, the bike does not have a gear indicator anywhere over here, which would have been tremendously helpful, but again, those are minor complaints. The maneuverability and the flexibility of the bike again is not right up there with a naked street fighter, for instance. Again, like I mentioned, it's a little on the heavier side, and you will have to really get used to the shape and the contours of the bike and the way it moves before you decide to really throw it around the curves. Oh, there's Colt, in case you want to develop a healthy, fit body like Mr. Roshan. Or if you just want to end up getting poorer. Alright, so that is it for me. I'm going to get out of here now and return the bike. But if this is your first time around at the Savant Life, then make sure that you hit that subscribe button and also click on the bell icon so that you can be notified when I put out more videos. I will see you the next time around. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and as always, ride safe.